Right, you've probably heard the term good versus bad sugar. What does that mean? Essentially, it's all the same. It's a source of energy, but the difference is a bad sugar can be a like really refined sauce like white sugar. It's got nothing along with it and causes damage to your body. Whereas an unrefined sauce comes with some nutrients. So like fruit. So when you tend to look at good versus bad sugar, you want to focus if you're eating it, stuff that comes along with nutrients, and ideally keep it to a uh, the best way to describe it is it goes into your bloodstream slower, so like a slower burn. Sweet potatoes, butternut squashes, vegetables. It's generally what you need to know. And if you're eating high glycemic foods that go into your blood sugar quickly, if you are eating carbohydrates, stick to nutritious sources, bananas, apples. But generally, I tend to like keep my sugars down, keep my fat up, so I don't eat bananas now. I eat low sugar fruits, any type of berry, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, strawberries, and then I tend to have them later at night. That's just me, but in general, what you need to know about good and bad sugar is how it comes along with nutrients. The amount you have in one go still has the same effect. You don't really want to take in too much in one go. So the other day, I noticed that these big naked smoothies have 18 teaspoons of sugar in them. You couldn't possibly consume 18 teaspoons of sugar in one go, just granulated sugar. Like, it's not going to work. They are so intelligent and they're so sneaky when they get all this to come in, because sugar tastes fucking nice. It tastes nice. We're not going to deny it. You should follow a 90 to 95% rule where every now and then if you want to indulge in some big fucking knicker block of glory or whatever it is, go nuts, if it makes you happy. But find that balance. But in general, sugar's what's making everyone's fat. Sugar is making you fat because it's getting snuck in everywhere. So we're storing far too much, then we burn off and it gets converted into fat and we get fatter. Avoid sugar. You don't really want. Again, you can get a Coke that's got nothing in it. It's got, that's for example, 50 grams. Ridiculous amount of sugar in one go. You can drink that. It's got nothing in it, but it's also got stuff in it that damages your body. If you was to drink an innocent smoothie, say, for example, the same amount, 50 grams, it going, still not good because you're taking in far too much, far too quickly, and it's bad for your insulin. It leads to shit like diabetes, but at least it comes along with some nutrients in the fruit. But don't stick to that idea. That's what really you need to know about good and bad sugar. It's thrown around a lot. People seem to think because it's good sugar, you have as much as you like. No, stick to something that's not going to make you crash, not going to take in too much at once. If you wanted one of them and you sipped it throughout the day, it probably wouldn't be too bad. But if you're sitting and drinking one of them in one sitting, it's going to spike your insulin too much. You're going to crash. And ultimately, that habit of up all the time, spike, and then spike because you get hungry again and spike, that's what will lead to diabetes and a load of other problems. But in general, I would stick to fruits as your sources of sweetness and your sugar, and then obviously don't eat too many of them either. And then as your other carbohydrate source, your slower burning ones, stick to things like sweet potatoes or yams, butternut squashes, vegetables. Good versus bad sugar. I hope that clears some stuff up.